Hey, peace and blessings, family. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build wealth in 2025, even if you're already successful. And if you want more content like this, just please like and subscribe to my channel. So, my story is this. It's really a crazy story because I've been through so many things and I've studied this for about 20 years now. I've been actively living it over the last, I would say, 5 years. But I've been broke many times. In fact, two times in my life, I was at rock bottom. I've been sued. I've had the IRS coming after me, creditors banging down doors, all that stuff that you can imagine and think of. And it was crazy because I knew the things that I'm about to reveal to you, but I didn't implement them. And so after about 2018, everything changed for me because I was sued for over $42,000. I was actually in trouble, so to speak. The IRS had a target on my back for over $10,000, and I lost $3 million in assets, all in the same year, within about the span of 5 to 6 months. So I was absolutely miserable. I lost everything: my home, all of my businesses, everything. And so, I want to share something with you that I was able to implement and do that actually got me out of that. And now life is so much better. It's so much different, and things are just going well. So listen, for you, sure, you've got income. I had it too. Maybe even multiple streams. Actually, you might even be clearing 6 or 7 figures every single year, and that's absolutely amazing. I was right there with you. Maybe you have an LLC. I sure did, but my LLC failed. Or maybe you have a great or better CPA, right? SEP, a IRA, 401k, whatever. Maybe even a trust or two. Well, that means that you checked the all of the traditional boxes, I would say, right, that you're supposed to, and you've done everything that you're supposed to set up for success. But if you're being real and truthful with yourself, does it actually feel like wealth, or does it feel like a lot of motion and movement with little to no momentum? And I got to be honest with you, uh, because most people in this position, you're probably worried about what the market is going to do because your IRA is affected by that, right? Or your 401k is affected by the market. I know some people when the market crashed, man, they lost so much money in their 401k. So everybody's afraid of what is happening in the market right now. It looks like the market's going to do really well. It's about to be a crazy bull run. So make sure you guys are protected so you don't have to pay all of those capital gains. I'm going to tell you how to do that right now, actually. And the reality is, if you're not afraid to lose at all, you're probably just afraid to lose at least a large chunk of it. Maybe you have some things that are well protected. Well, because this is what I see over and over, right? People who are technically successful, but they still feel like they're behind. They're hustling and working harder. They're grinding more than ever, only to see more of their money disappear every year to taxes, compliance, and fees. See, they're playing defense with their wealth while they should be playing offense. And the real issue, the rub, it's not because they're doing anything wrong, technically speaking, because they're following a script. They're doing it right. They're doing everything right, right? Well, the script was designed for the system to benefit off of them and not them benefit off the system. So the way wealth is taught publicly is totally different from the way it's structured privately. See, what you're given as a high income earner, so to speak, is a compliance plan, not a wealth plan. So everything is about keeping you compliant, not making you wealthy. So you're being limited instead of being empowered. But here's the real truth: the people at the top, the people who never have to ask themselves, can I afford this? Right? Uh, they're not using the tools that you're using. They're not locking up their money in IRAs or begging for tax deductions from W-2 or S corp, C corp income. None of that's happening for them, right? Um, in fact, they've moved past that game entirely, and they've built their own governments. Yes, governments, meaning private structures that operate within their own jurisdictions, with their own rules, with their own protections, and their own flow. And once you understand how this actually works, you can begin to realize just how small the traditional model really is. So let's break this down piece by piece, step by step. The first shift that needs to happen is structure comes before strategy. So all of these CPAs, estate attorneys, lawyers, whatever, they're all teaching strategies and they're promoting it as structure. So I'm going to break down what structure is and how it's more important than strategy. most people are actually addicted to these strategies. So they want to optimize everything, right? They're optimizing it, they're tweaking it. They want to launch a new offer or invest in some new vehicle or strategy, something that can potentially save them a little bit more money. And all that works to a point, but it's very limiting. And if your structure is wrong, then all you're doing is actually building a bigger engine inside of a leaky boat, right? So that means that there'll be more power. Sure, you have more income and things that you can do, but no real direction because the rudder is broken, and definitely no security. And sooner or later, it's going to sink with you in it. So listen up, Captain. All right. You don't need to go down with this ship. You can actually do something about this. So, what is the right structure? I'm glad you asked. Great question. It starts with this. First of all, understanding that wealth is not just money. There are so many people who are caught up in making money, and they always are chasing making more money because they have never learned how to keep money, right? So, wealth is not just about making more money, it's actually being in control over how that money, those assets, that infrastructure flows and operates and functions. So, it's not just making money, but it's having the control of the flow of it and how it's structured. And that requires four key things. Key number one, or pillar number one, is going to be protection. You actually need something to protect it, a vault, something that is impenetrable as possible, bulletproof, a legal financial firewall that separates you from liability, separates you from predators, and even the overreach of the government. And that's where a well crafted private irrevocable trust comes in, but not the revocable kind, not these living trusts that people are out here offering you for pennies on a dollar, where you can go to a Rocket Lawyer and make a template. Like, that's not going to protect you, right? I'm talking about a private trust that lives outside of statutory jurisdictions, outside of public codes, and it gives you actual real control over what you make. The second pillar is flow. Now, with flow, you need to be able to move money in and out of your structure, your new structure, without triggering tax events. What that means is no disbursements are being made. Every time you make a disbursement, that's a taxable event, right? You need to be able to structure this without triggering any penalties. So when you go to take your money out, you're not being charged these ridiculous fees and taxes on the money that you're taking out, right? Or compliance traps where you have to follow these rules. You can't touch your money until you're a certain age, all of that kind of stuff, right? Well, this is where the PMA and the 508c1A Foundation come in. Listen, private commerce and private philanthropy both need to be designed to operate outside of the IRS's normal system legally and powerfully. And there are many layers to this. And I teach some of these things in some more videos. Just, again, subscribe, like, all of that good stuff. And there'll be more content like this coming. Pillar number 3 is governance. You need something that you probably never imagined, something nobody ever told you would need. You need a constitution. America has a constitution. Every nation, or not every nation, but 100 and something of them in this world have constitutions. And a constitution is a governing document that outlines the who, what, how, and why of your wealth. It actually dictates these things so that way they cannot be broken or messed up, right? I mean, the Constitution is there to establish guidelines and boundaries for those who are operating within it. This is actually what creates your private government, this Constitution. And so without this, the trust and the foundation are just paperwork by themselves. They're tools that are great to use, but without a Constitution, they're not their own government. But with it, they become a living structure. And the fourth pillar is succession. Here's the deal. You need a plan that lives beyond you. See, legacy isn't just about passing money down. I mean, that's easy, but that money is usually gone by the second and third generation. It's actually about passing down power. So, passing down systems, right? And these structures, passing down values that your children can step into without having to start from scratch or beg for legal permission to access what's already theirs. So this avoids probate, this avoids attorneys and judges trying to get all of your assets, your properties, and bleed the family dry before they get anything. So right there is the difference between being rich and being sovereign. Wealth in 2025 isn't about chasing the next crypto pump, which is actually happening right now, folks, right? Or flipping another property or squeezing another 10% out of your CPA's tax plan. So this is about you stepping outside of the public game and the public realm entirely and realizing that you get to build the rules yourself now. And when you do that, you're no longer in the need of their help. You no longer need their permission. You no longer need their protection. You no longer ask yourself, how do I keep more of what I want? How do I stop paying so many taxes? How do I get into control of all of this? You don't have to ask yourself those questions anymore. Because guess what? You've already decided where your wealth lives and how it flows and who gets access to it and who does not. So if you're already successful, but you feel like you're still paddling upstream, if you're tired of the hamster wheel of more revenue and income means more taxes, meaning more stress and frustration, and if you know that there has to be another level that you want to go to, then you can take a step in the right direction right now, today. Because this level of freedom and power is not hidden from you, it's just private. And that's what I teach inside the Private Wealth Code. So if you want to learn how you can install this for yourself, go to waynejr.com and grab the book and the blueprint for absolutely for free. Okay? You can start right there, and I'll see you on the inside. How do I keep more of what I make?